Hi, everyone. This is Sarah Herman and Naomi Davis.
Hi.
The Illinois CPA Society. We work on our member outreach team, and we're really excited to talk to you guys today a little bit about our Mary T. Washington Wiley program and give you guys some tips and tricks on how to apply. So basically, this program was started 3 years ago, and it's on Mary T. Washington Wiley's honor. She's the very first female African-American CPA, which is very cool. And she did a lot of things throughout her career to really mentor and encourage minority students to enter the profession. So really, this program is all about that, and it's for you guys. It's 3 days, January 4th through 6th in downtown Chicago. All expenses paid for 25 minority students. They get a $500 scholarship and then tons of training on resumes and business etiquette, interview skills, the CPA exam, all types of things that will really help you become an internship expert. And then the really cool thing is on the third day, you get to interview for a paid internship that is from one of our sponsoring firms. So really cool opportunity. We're really excited. We hope you'll apply. And we're just going to tell you guys a little bit about how to do that today. So I'm going to turn it over to Naomi to go over to some of that stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. So I wanted to go over the eligibility requirements for applying for this program. As Sarah mentioned, this program is for minority students in the state of Illinois. So you do have to be an Illinois resident, attend college in Illinois, and then you also have to be a minority student, an underrepresented minority student in the accounting profession. And then there are a couple other eligibility requirements that I'd like to highlight. One of them is that you do have to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, and that's decided by the firms. And then you have to be currently or intending to major in accounting. That can even be just taking one accounting class, and that you just want to explore that a little more. We're really looking to help you explore that and give you the opportunity to experience the accounting profession. We do ask that you have a 3.0 GPA. However, if it's a little bit lower than that, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. You cannot have an internship with one of the sponsoring firms.
In public accounting.
Yeah. Right. And then we're really excited that you're interested in the program, and we're happy to help along the way. And we'll be able to provide more tips and tricks throughout the rest of this video.
All right, guys. So one of the things that Naomi mentioned was the 3.0 requirement. And a lot of students ask us, I'm really close to that. What should I do? And we really encourage you to apply if you are still below that. A little insider scoop is that sometimes our committee will bend the rules on that requirement a little bit. So take advantage of that and use the optional essay to maybe explain your GPA. And if you have some compelling circumstances, you might still be accepted. So don't let that deter you too much.
Awesome. So there is an optional essay on the application, and one of the greatest ways to use that is to really explain your circumstance. So Sarah mentioned being able to explain your lower GPA if it's under 3.0 and why it is that way, and just pull at the heartstrings of the committee a little bit. They're really looking for some compelling stories, and that fourth essay on the application is your way to do that. So if you have a family circumstance, if you didn't do very well in a class and you want to talk about that, the committee is really interested in hearing that, and it's okay to have a little bit of a story that makes them that they really ache for in their heart. So pull at their heartstrings a little bit and make sure you just explain your circumstance so all parts of your application, all those T's are crossed and those I's are dotted.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing is the transcript portion. Sometimes students are nervous about how to get the transcripts and you have to pay money for them. And we actually accept unofficial transcripts, so you don't have to pay for them. You can get them online. It's pretty easy. Basically, we're just trying to make this as easy as possible for you guys to apply, so you don't have to worry about that. And if you have specific questions on how to get them at your school, let us know, and we can try to help you in that way.
Awesome. I also will say when you're submitting your application, it doesn't all have to come at once. Mm-hmm. So if you want to submit your official transcript while you're waiting for your letter of recommendation or your application to be complete, we will take your application at different times. So don't be afraid to send in your transcripts a little bit early, and we'll get that in our application tracking and get you ready to go. Asking for a letter of recommendation is often difficult. So we really want to give you some tips and just an idea of how long you should ask your professor or whoever your recommender is, and how much time you should give them to write your letter of recommendation. So finding a recommender is really important for this program. They really should speak to your character and your ability in class or outside of the classroom, the integrity that you carry and how you carry yourself. Some really good people that you can ask are your professor, your advisor. If you have a previous manager that really knows you, those are some really great people to ask for your letter of recommendation. I would give them about 2 weeks to write your letter of recommendation, so do not wait till the last minute. We really want to make sure that you have all of your application materials in by the November 24th deadline. So give them 2 weeks to write those letter of recs, and you should be really good to go.
To piggyback on that, the committee really looks at the recommendation letters and weighs them very heavily. So if you can find someone that's going to say something really great about you, take that seriously and ask them soon. And then when they write a recommendation letter for you, say thank you and maybe make them some cookies because someone spent a lot of time to make you look good.
Yeah, thank you notes are definitely a nice gesture.
Proofreading your application is paramount. I would say this is maybe the most important part of the whole process. We do get a lot of applications, and misspellings and using the wrong word, typos in general, is a really easy way to weed out candidates. So don't let that be you. We are very willing to help you guys with this. We've looked at a lot of applications. We'll help proofread for students, and have someone else, have a friend look at it, have your parents or maybe a professor take a peek at it for you as well. And they might have some suggestions, or even when they're reading your content, they might have suggestions about what you might want to say if it's someone that knows you well as well. And also, we do have the application is a writable PDF, so you can type it, and I would definitely type it. Do not submit it with writing on it that's handwritten. It's just more difficult for the committee to read, and it looks less professional. So take advantage of the writable PDF and proofread, please.
Definitely the most important. Yes. It's something that our task force and committee talk about all the time, is that this is spelled wrong. We need a comma here. So make sure you're proofreading, use spell check, maybe write it in Microsoft Word first and then copy it into the PDF, because Microsoft Word will track all of your spelling and grammar.
All right, so we have a couple questions that have come in from some students that we want to go over right now. And one of them is, how do I make my application stand out? So we mentioned we usually get about 50 applications for the 25 spaces, which isn't a ton of competition, but still there's competition out there. So a good question. I would say to definitely use this optional essay. I know we've been sort of harping on this a lot, but really use that to your advantage. Tell a story that can make you stand out. Make sure you don't have any misspellings. And also, when you're thinking about who can write your recommendation letter, think of someone that might be able to tell a really cool story about you. Do you have any other tips?
I think that's good. I think just making sure that all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted and you're submitting a complete application. And by the November 24th deadline, we're not asking you for your resume or your transcript, or we're missing your letter of rec. Make sure everything is in by the due date so we can get that processed and out to our committee. Okay, so we also get a lot of questions about what type of experience should you be putting on your resume. And I think this is something that students struggle with a lot. They don't have any previous accounting experience. They're worried that that's going to affect their application. And I would not worry about that. I would really focus on putting leadership opportunities that you've had, clubs that you're involved in, community service that you participate in. Your GPA is important. If you know your CPA eligibility date, that's also really important because it shows that you're committed to taking the CPA exam. And we'll work with you throughout the program to help you figure out that date if you don't know it. But if you do know or you have an idea, putting that on your resume is awesome, and it's a great addition to your application. So just really focus on opportunities that you've had at school, outside of school. Maybe you had a job where you did something, you participated in a project, your professor noticed you for something really great, recognized you for something really great. Put that on your resume. I would say that you should try and keep your resume to a page if you do have that opportunity. Absolutely. And Sarah and I are actually happy to review that resume if you'd like before you submit your application.
Yeah, I think in general, we know that you don't have a lot of accounting experience, so some of your jobs might be working in a grocery store or moving theater, and that's fine. I think really the committee is interested in seeing that you have some work experience in general. If you're working while you're at school, I think that's always something that people want to know about because you're balancing your time.
Right. I totally agree.
Okay, so one last question we have here is from someone who's actually reapplying to the program. So how can they make sure they submit their best application this time? And I would go back to what I was saying before about proofreading. I think that's huge, and having some other people look at the application for you. I think there's a lot of times it's hard to write about yourself, and you might not think about yourself in certain ways, but if you show what you're saying to somebody else that might know you well, they can give you some examples and ideas of how to really market yourself the best way. So that would be what I would say to that person.
Right, I totally agree. Do not submit the exact same application and hope for a better response this time. Go back, really sit down and look at your answers and your essays, and maybe look and see if there's someone else that can recommend you for the program. And then make sure you submit a current transcript up until this point. If you're looking for our application and you're ready to apply, you can find it on our student website, and that's listed right here. If you're looking to submit your application, you can send it in a couple of ways. One of them is over the mail, so please make sure it's postmarked by November 24th, or you can submit it electronically to students@icpas.org. We'll send you a confirmation email once we receive all of your materials. So apply today. We're really excited to receive your application, and we're looking forward to your participation in the Mary T. Washington Wiley Internship Preparation Program.